Working?
Yeah.
Yay. How's it going, man? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. How's you?
All right, good. Getting by. Learning how to entertain yourself within four walls is a bit interesting. Isn't it?
Yeah. Spending lots of money on games and not a great deal else.
What did you go for?
I got Animal Crossing for the Time Passer one because different things happen at different times of the day. And then I got Zelda to try and
Classic.
just destroy. Breath of the Wild's sick, man. It's so pretty to look at. And I got the new Doom because I've never played the old ones. And my dad was like proper hyped on them when he was a kid. So I felt like I had to. And it's also sick. That's like an anger getter out game.
I feel like I've really missed out on like gaming and stuff. I've never been into it. Like I played FIFA and that was about it.
No.
I tried Call of Duty once and I was terrible. I just gave up.
I played PES 2003 when I was a kid on the PS2. And that was the closest to FIFA I ever got.
FIFA over PES all day. FIFA's class. I used to spend, I don't know, like it was always like shit names. It was always like Merseyside Red versus Merseyside Blue because they didn't have the copyright to call it Liverpool 11.
Onto.
It was so bad.
That always made me laugh.
I like pure nostalgia. Every time I see someone playing FIFA now, I'm like, oh fucking hell! I used to spend hours.
Did you never even play like driving games or anything?
No, like my brother was into driving games, so I kind of joined in with him. On the Need for Speed, I think it was. But I never
probably.
I never properly got into it. I was never like a big gamer. I'm still not like into games at all. Like Andy and Chris always play on Skyrim, is it or something?
RuneScape,
that thing.
Skyrim. They'd kill you for saying Skyrim.
See, I'm oblivious. I have no
They'll
idea.
watch us back and be like,
but they do. They play it all the time. Like Chris has spent money on it. Like real money.
I know, so's Andy. Andy used to sit in work when we both worked in Signature Living. He used to sit in work on his lunch on his laptop on the side of the room, just spamming like RuneScape. And I was like, what are you doing? He was just like, oh, I'm just doing this. Like, it was like a deadlock thing. So like you started on like a fresh slate and you had to get through the game as quick as you could or something like that. And he was just spamming it through work. And I was like, are you not scared that someone's going to come over and be like, what the fuck are you playing RuneScape for?
Yeah.
It was a sick game, to be fair. That is a childhood nostalgia one, but I just never carried it on.
I've never had the time to waste on gaming. I always try and like occupy myself with doing something useful.
Yeah, I get that. I'm kind of like that now. Until I've been out of work, I've not really touched them. I'll have like a little play here and there, but my brother has overtaken me massively. Like he'll try and have me on Super Smash Bros. Brawl, or we've bought the new like Halo remaster that's come out on PC, and he is ridiculous. 15-year-old kids are so good at games; it's insane. I feel like can't get a word in.
Do you know when we were younger, we'd show our parents how to use the phone and stuff, and we'd be like, "Oh God." I feel like we're now that generation that still need to catch up with the younger ones. Like they'll be teaching us like, "Oh God."
Flynn was sat there watching me play Zelda, and he was like, "Cal, you can't teleport there. You've not gone to one of the you've not defeated that shrine yet." And I was like, what? I just didn't know that that's where you teleported to. And he was like getting so mad at me as if it was like dead simple. And I was like, I am that old person now.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like, it's so weird. Like it happened like the past like 5 years, and all of a sudden these younger kids are just like gaming wizards.
Not so young anymore.
No.
Pretty much.
I feel like this isolation situation wouldn't really affect them because all they do is lock themselves in the bedroom and game and wank themselves
isolation
silly.
Situation. That sounds cool. Yeah, Flynn's basically said the same thing, minus the wanking, although I'm sure he does that as well. He was just like, this hasn't changed my life at all. Like, it's completely fine. Everyone's freaking out though, what they're freaking out about. And I was like, my life is ruined.
Yeah. Flynn's like been preparing for this for years. Like, all these parents trying to encourage the kids to go out all the time, and now the kids are like, all right, mum, I'll finally go out. And then like 2 days later it's like, no, you have to stay in now for like 6 months.
You know what is like blowing my mind with this thing though is I take the dogs on a walk like most days and never see anyone around Spittle. It's a ghost town. And then the second we're told to go into lockdown, every single time I go on a dog walk, I see like dozens and dozens and dozens of families all walking around.
Is that because like they usually walk their dog in the daytime or something while you're in work, so you never really see them, and now it's like that overlap situation?
I guess so. I kind of thought it was like people can't go on their walks anywhere else, I guess, so they're all just trying to get out the house. So it makes sense, but it just looks mad. It's like everyone stay inside, and then more people seem to appear.
Me and Georgia went on a little walk the other day to Bidston Hill, and when we were walking, there was like people waiting for you at the end of a trail. So they were waiting and like stepping aside, waiting for you to walk past them. So you got like a distance to walk past, and you kind of do this awkward like, "Thank you for not infecting me." Like you kind of walk away again. Like it's crazy.
Same with us. Because there's like two little thin paths each side of the road. If one family's walking one way, one family's walking the other way, and then we're coming between them. Like we always just walk the dogs in the middle of the road.
It's
because
so mad.
If we don't, they will, and the kids are all stepping out into the road and they're all wearing like face masks. Even though I've heard face masks is not the way forward because it's not an airborne disease anyway. You literally have to have contact or have someone cough in your face.
Yeah, I've heard loads of different things. Like because they're saying
no one knows what's facts and fiction now.
Yeah, they're saying like the bacteria or the virus or whatever the fucking hell it is. They're saying that it lasts for like 24 hours on surfaces, which is why you need to wash your hands constantly. And I was like, well, if it lasts for 24 hours on a surface, surely it's in the air. Even if it's only for like 2 hours or something. But if someone had it and they coughed in the air and then 2 hours later you walk through it, it's like, how can it last for a whole day on a surface? But like, it's not airborne. No, honestly, we promise.
It's longer on certain surfaces as well. I think metal's the worst one. Metal railings and stuff that lasts for like days and days sometimes.
It's so weird. What's your whole like opinion on this situation? Because like obviously when it started in China, it was mental. Like there was people like in the streets just lying there, and like the Chinese government were just barricading people in the houses and stuff. And they built like a whole hospital, didn't they? In like a week, they built this whole hospital purely for coronavirus people. And then like what's going on with Italy at the moment is insane. Like they were not prepared for this whatsoever. But then like with Britain, whether it seems to be the media are covering other countries more than us or whatever, but it doesn't seem like that whole mass panic has kicked in. I don't know if it's like, is he taking it serious still? Blah, blah, blah. Like Boris Johnson's got it. Like he's not taking it any more serious than he already is. Like it's just, I just feel that we've been very fortunate to have like things like the NHS on our side that are covering this really well, and we've got the resources to do it. But
the NHS have saved our lives, man.
It's mental, isn't it? I remember
very literally.
When they announced that people that were coming from Wuhan and stuff were coming to quarantine at Arrow Park, everyone that I was talking to were just like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, why are they doing this? And now all of a sudden it's like, that's just been completely forgotten because everyone's got it. And it was always it's crazy.
The case. It was literally always going to be the case. As soon as like people were flying over, it was like, if anyone had have actually read up on what happened in China, they would have known. But people from Britain, on the whole, don't really care unless it's affecting them. So they saw what's happening in China and they were like, oh, well, it's not here. So fuck it. And as soon as they got here, they were like, oh, shit. Oh, no, panic. What do we do? We weren't prepared for this. Someone should have told us about this. And it's like, well, they did. A long time ago.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And you just weren't ready. But to be fair, the government was more prepared here by the looks of it than it was in the likes of Italy and stuff. Because I think if it were the other way around and it had come and hit us first before it had hit Italy, we would have been in the same predicament that they were. But because we've watched it all happen in so many different places and we were one of the latter to get it, we kind of learned from their mistakes and still are learning from their mistakes. So,
because it's mad, isn't it? Like, I've heard loads of reports from Italy. The hospitals are just rammed with people that are just like dying of this disease, and it's insane because like it seems to be that there isn't that same situation in Britain at the moment.
No, not at all. Well, you say that they're preparing for it in case it happens. So like big like exhibition centers are being turned into like what looks like something from like a history book. This whole thing feels like we're living something that you'd get taught in like high school in history. We're literally in the middle of it. But they're like turning like big exhibition centers into like fake hospitals, and it's just nothing but rows and rows of beds all 2 and 3 meters apart. And then they're ripping apart Deeside Skate Park, like I was telling you before, and using that whole thing for hospital beds. They just haven't got the room without doing stuff like this.
It's mad. They've done it in the London XL as well, haven't they? Like the XL centre's been completely transformed. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to the XL. It's absolutely mammoth. Like you can't you can't even comprehend in your head how big that place is. It's insane. I went there a few years ago, and there's a corridor at the top that links all these conference rooms together. So the exhibition hall's here, and then like a big corridor running above it, and you can't even see the end of it. Like when you're walking down it, it's like something off a film. It's just the corridor's that long, you can't see the end door. It's just too small. It's insane.
Jesus. Oh.
That whole centre has been converted into a massive hospital. So it's like, how many people are they treating? Because that can hold so many people, and that's just one place.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird ground in terms of how they're portraying it on media as well. Because I don't know about everyone else. Like I stayed on the media for so long just to like keep up to date with it, because you kind of have to. There's no way, like, two ways about it. You need to know what's going on. But I had like days where I woke up and I'd hear my dad turn the telly on, and it'd be on there, and it'd kill me. I was like, I just can't hear another word about it, or I will just fold into a ball. And
I got bogged down because obviously, like, I'm working from home now, same as you. But when I was in work, I found like the little quiet part of the day, I was constantly on as many like media streams as I could find, reading up all these different stories, and I was like getting absolutely drowned by this information. And I could never find myself in a good mood. But now, since I've been at home, which is really weird, like I haven't looked at the news once. I think the last time I watched the news was when Boris announced that all the pubs were closing, and I was like, nope, that's enough. And then I
watched the lockdown announcement, and that was. I mean, I keep up to date with like a couple of the numbers and stuff just to have a vague idea, but I think everyone knows that there's nothing we can do to change it in the next few weeks. They said they were going to review it every 3 weeks, so we're just going to have to check in a few weeks' time, I guess.
Yeah, I think like everyone you speak to about this, no one's thinking like positive about the timescale. They're not like, oh yeah, it'll blow over in 2 weeks. This, because when I first got told by my work that we were working from home, it was initially for 2 weeks, and I was like, all right, 2 weeks isn't bad. Like that'll be sound. And it turns out that like, no way. I've just completed week 2 now, and nothing's going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Like so, yeah.
Well,
it's
my uncle,
a very, very strange world, isn't it?
My uncle is in the army, and he's basically been told he's not even working for them anymore. But anyone that was in the army has now been told they're basically put on like a standby. So in case no one listens to the lockdown properly, the army and the ex-army are going to have to go in and start acting as police officers, basically, and keep people off the street. This isn't like in this stage of lockdown. This is if it goes like completely locked down and you're like strict as hell. But
what do they call it? It's martial law,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah.
When it gets to like martial law, that's when like the military come out on the streets and like they can barricade you in your own house and stuff. Like it's crazy.
It's terrifying. It's kind of a good thing because, like, as scary as that is, people just shouldn't be doing it anyway. And he was saying when he got told that he was on the standby that if people actually stayed in and only ever went out for their weekly shop and that was it, then this whole thing would blow over in like 3 or 4 weeks tops.
Yeah.
And it'd be done, over and done with. But that's obviously not going to happen because it's impossible to control an entire country to do that.
Yeah, people are still like going out and stuff. Like there's a little there's a family that live on our road here, and I'm sure the family are lovely, but their child is very, should I say, chavvy. And he's always got his mates just like on his doorstep. They all just like, they meet every single day. They sit there, they have a ciggy. They're just sitting there with the dogs on the doorstep, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, use a kids. Like you've all got mobile phones. Just FaceTime each other if it's that important. You don't need to go to his house every day and just stand on a doorstep. It's like defies the object of why we're all doing this. But I think it's the younger kind of people that are struggling more than the older people, because we all have an understanding of it, definitely. And we've all got a job to do at home, whereas they've been sent home from school and they're like, oh, I'm on holiday.
You know what, though? My psychological brain is telling me that it's not even the kids that aren't scared. I think they're just as scared as we are, if not more scared. But in that kind of like, when I'm gonna keep calling them chavs. If you're a chav and you're in a group of chavs, and one chavvy lad turns around and they're like, "This is a load of shit, this lad. We don't need to stay in. Fuck this." No one wants to like voice up and be like, "Actually, we need to be like, we need to be careful," because then everyone will just turn on it. It's almost like a peer pressure thing.
Imagine being that nerdy kid. It's like, no, but just think about the consequences.
I don't want to get sick. That's it. That's literally it. It's all it takes is one person in their group to say, "This is a load of shit. Let's just go out anyway." And the rest of them are like, "Oh, okay, we'll just be sheep."
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things that you're missing? Obviously, like I miss band practice a hell of a lot. Like we haven't been in the studio now for 3 weeks. Like we had to cancel our headline show.
The headline show is the weekend.
Oh mate, it's killed me. Sad. And we had like a big studio session that we've been planning for like 18 months, which it was going to be like a big documentary thing, like an hour long. We perform a load of tunes to a live audience, do a Q&A and stuff. And we had to pull that as well. And that's in like 18 months in the making. We've been working towards that. And it's just like, we have to pull it. But I haven't got an electric drum kit at home or a drum kit or anything. So I'm going absolutely insane. Like I've got
nothing on the table all the time.
Literally, like in reach here, I've got drumsticks. They're just everywhere. But honestly, I'm like, I'm clawing at everything. Like I just need to play. I need to, I think that's the one big thing that I'm missing is playing the instruments and being in the studio. It's driving me insane.
I'm trying so hard to stay positive about it, but the one thing that was really cool is when we were supposed to be playing in Hebe's and we had loads of people like putting stories up saying, "Oh, we're having like a little Brothers of Mine gig at home," and they were all like listening to our music and stuff. That was cool. Sweet. I appreciated that.
It's like as much as it makes you feel good, it immediately makes you feel horrible as well, doesn't it? You're just like, fucking hell, that could have been such a good night, but
I know. It still will be whenever it comes around again. It's just sad. But it's this again, like everyone's in the same boat. Like I know people who have like just dropped albums and they can't go on their like album release tour, which is a killer, like an absolute killer. And I feel like we're not in anywhere near as bad a situation as some other bands because like at least we've all still got jobs and can still afford to live. But there's just some people's lives that have just come to a halt. Like tattoo artists can't do their jobs at all anymore. They're all like relying on prints and sticker sheets and a couple of commissions and stuff, and that's it. That's literally it.
Like, it's insane. There's like a very small amount of people that can still do the job from home, and like we're very fortunate to be able to do so. As much as it's not like 100% the same as working in an office or whatever you're working, it's still like counting your blessings that you can still do your job and get your wage and live that same life.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I really feel for especially musicians. Like that's like the only way that you can keep sane is by playing your music and going out and doing these gigs and stuff. And now it's like all the festivals have been cancelled and everything.
Oh, dude, don't remind me.
Like festivals. What's going to be festival season? It's insane, isn't it?
Festival season is literally like what I wait. Like once it's passed, I'm just depressed for the entire year, just looking forward to festival season again.
You have like Christmas and festivals, and that's it.
Yeah. Don't remind me. I had Slam Dunk booked. I had Download booked, and Download's cancelled. I don't even think they're rescheduling it. I think they're just pushing it back to the next year, same time.
I think a lot of festivals will do that purely for financial reasons. Like,
fuck, man,
it's crazy, isn't it? And like, I've seen like a load of artists have been doing like live streams and stuff, and like Andy did one for Phase One the other week on Instagram, didn't he?
That was cool, yeah.
And it was cool, but I was like, how weird is this that I'm just sitting in my living room watching him? Like, I'm not a part of this. Like, it was so mad. I hated it.
I've seen a few people do like recording and covers, but doing each part from like their own home and stuff. And I was like thinking like, oh, we could do that. That'd be cool. And then I was like, Mark can't play from home. Pretty sure Chris hasn't got his full rig at home. It's literally just like me and Andy are the only ones that have got it covered.
Well, me and Andy have been talking about this. Like, I was gonna kind of just find anything and everything around the house that I can play as a drum and play through one of our tracks with a makeshift drum kit. Send it over to Andy to record his parts. Then send it to you and then send it to Chris. Because Chris has got his acoustic bass at home.
Does he?
He literally, it's like Chris knew that this was coming because he took his acoustic bass home because he was like, I'm fed up that I can't practice at home, so I'm going to take it home. And then a week later, this happened.
This all happened.
Chris was just like looking into his crystal ball before Pracky, like.
Yeah, I had to try and run to the studio to bring my amp and everything back and Andy's guitar. And I felt so dodged, man. Like I came out the tunnel because you're only allowed to go out for essential travel, aren't you? It was just before the lockdown. And I'd gone out and I was driving through town and there was police everywhere, like literally everywhere. I was so convinced I was going to get pulled over. And
I haven't been through the tunnel for 3 weeks. I haven't driven my car. I haven't done anything. Like,
I've taken my car out for a little spin just because I don't want to forget how to drive. I've only just fucking passed. I hadn't driven ages. Mum was like,
"Oh, do you want to lockdown?" You're like, "Right, off to work." Shit.
Boom. My mum's car's absolutely goosed, so she's been like driving my car around. She's crashed it, and the back bumper's all done in. I've literally not crashed my car yet, and she was devastated, man. She was so sad.
No way.
It's fine. And then I haven't driven it in ages, but my mum has like different habits to me, and she has like my seat set all different. So I got in my car to go and like drop some like fruit and veg off at my granddad's or whatever, and I sat in and I was like, this is really tall. This is weird. So I like rearranged everything, and I was like, okay, this feels good. Turn the engine on. My mum leaves it in gear, so I went boom, nearly smashed my head off the fucking steering wheel. I was like, oh my god, okay, let's just drive. And then I went to drive, and she also leaves the wheel on full lock. So my car is parked like next to my mum's car, and I literally set off and nearly took the fucking bonnet off. I had to like come back in afterwards and be like, Mum, you need to stop doing these things because I don't think about it when I get in the car.
Sits down like, Mum needs to have a serious chat here. You know, things that wind me up about you. One, just go to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. No one ever drives my car. Like George is a bit scared of driving my car because it's an estate. She just thinks it's massive. It's like driving a bus. Where like she has got the same size car as me, just without that extra little bit on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And like
she's
terrified of driving it.
My dad let me have a little drive of his van the other week even, and that was a bit hard because he tried to get me like to reverse in a really tight space, and I couldn't see anything. I was like, okay, this is different from a Polo.
I remember when me and Georgia first moved out, we moved out of we rented a flat for a bit, and when we moved out of the flat to move in with her parents to save for the house, I hired a van from B&Q, and it was just like the only van that was available. So I was just assuming like a normal size Transit. And I was like, all right, sound, yeah. I get there, and it's this fucking massive Renault Master. And it was like the longest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I get in, I was just like, how the fucking hell am I going to drive this? And I managed to do it, but I was like, still look back on it now, like, how did I manage to reverse that into a driveway and stuff? Like, it was insane. It's like a different world driving a van, isn't it?
I know. I can't hack it, man. I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point if I ever need to. But at this point in time, I'm happy in my little Polo. Can park anywhere in that, and I'm laughing. Yeah.
Also, back to like artists doing live streams and stuff. I had a thought the other day, and I was like, I don't know if do you watch much YouTube?
Not masses, but bits. Yeah.
I watch a fair amount, and the amount of money that some YouTubers make is insane. Like streaming wise, the money they make is crazy. And I was thinking, as this pandemic that's going on, do you reckon? I think like it could have a little chance of changing the music industry forever. Like it gives artists now the opportunity to say if they did a live stream on YouTube, and then they got money from that, it would save them doing like that extra 10 dates on their tour or whatever. You know what I mean? Because like they've seen how it works. So. Niall, I said to you like a few weeks ago, Niall Horan did a live stream on his Instagram, and there was 35,000 people watching.
Yeah,
35,000. That's a massive amount of people. Now imagine 35,000 people's worth of streaming money coming in every single time you go live from your living room for half an hour.
Imagine 35,000 people being at a gig. That'd be
it's crazy, isn't it? But I was thinking like this could change like a lot of people's perspective on touring and stuff, which would in effect change the industry forever.
I don't know if it'd actually stay like that once all the lockdown comes off, because obviously people will still want to tour, people will still want to see everyone live, but it'll definitely add to it. I don't think it'll take touring away at all, but I think it'll definitely
just like
add another
have a different avenue for people.
Yeah, it wasn't just Niall Horan. Loads of people did it. Youngblood had about the same amount of people viewing like the Youngblood show. It was actually pretty sick, to be fair. And he did like a hashtag for it, and I think he was one of the first people to like jump on this bandwagon, and it was like #1 trending on Twitter for like a couple of days. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And he's gonna start making like a proper series out of it.
It'd be cool though, wouldn't it? Because I love watching stuff like that. Like I like to know what goes on behind the scenes with bands. So yeah, I know that like Muse, whenever they recorded an album, they used to do like a big documentary to accompany the album. So when they released the album, they released this like hour-long, half an hour, whatever it is, documentary of how they made the album. Yeah. So it goes through all the processes, and it's not even like them standing there going, "Hello, I'm Matt Bellamy. This is how I wrote this song." It's purely just someone went to the studio with them every single day with a camera and recorded everything
and just snapshotted it. Yeah.
And then like Dave Grohl did Sonic Highways for Foo Fighters with their album. And I was like, I am obsessed with the ins and outs of how people do stuff. So if I hear a track and I go, oh my God, like the drums sound really good on this track, I then research who recorded that track and then YouTube their name and like drum recording. And it's up with like loads of videos and then doing interviews and like mic techniques and stuff. And then I start copying off them then to record our stuff. And I'm obsessed with going down like a rabbit hole of things. And like when you
I'm very much like that.
If I like the way someone writes a song, I like make it my mission to find out who they listen to, and then listen to that artist, and like start to put myself in their shoes of how they got into the mindset of writing. And it's like it blows my mind.
Obviously not with like the drum front, but if I watch anything on YouTube, I always just end up going down like stupid rabbit holes of like I'll watch a few interviews and stuff and just like people chatting shit about it all, but then like the likes of Bring Me the Horizon did like a whole thing on how they wrote Ludens, which is
in the hotel room.
Yeah,
mate, it's quality.
I only watched that the other day as well, but it was so sick.
It's insane. Me and Georgia watched that, and even Georgia was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, and they're just both sat there going a bit insane. They keep getting noise complaints off everyone, and they get like people coming around, like knocking on the door and like delivering guitars and stuff. And then they wrote all the guitar on a synth or something, didn't they? And then they sent it over to their guitar player and said, "Is this actually possible? Figure it out, and then we'll go with it."
And he was in like Studio B, wasn't he, on his own, just figuring it all out. And he was like, "Right, I've got something." It was like, wow. The way they work is incredible. But it's their keyboard player, whatever his name is, Josh or something his name is. But their keyboard player.
I really should know this. I did know it.
He's like, he is the brains of the band.
He's the mind behind it. Before he came in, it was like Pray for Plagues and Alligator Blood, and they were like heavy. And that's when I started listening to them. And then a lot of people's like kind of tagged on, because each album's like a different band completely. And loads of people tagged on some of the new albums, and loads of people dropped off, and they're like, "This isn't Bring Me anymore," blah, 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 blah. But like, you've got to let them evolve, man. And their keyboard player literally like brought them to what they are now. And they didn't just stay in one place with it the whole time.
It's crazy that, because like when bands release, like they release an album that puts them on the map, and people buzz off it and they go, "Oh my God, this sounds amazing." And then they release album 2, which I find that there's a bit more pressure on album 2 for an artist, especially if album 1 sold so well. But along with that, you've got a bit more freedom as well. So because your name's already out there, you don't really have to write the songs that you don't want to write for people to listen to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because album 1 builds your fan base, and you have to base it on what you know people are going to listen to. And then once you've got people already in like a loyal kind of cult, it almost does become a cult when people get that attached and you get that bigger fan base. You can write anything, you can express yourself more in a completely different way, make a sound that isn't within a genre as such, and people will follow it, and it'll blow up from that.
Because I was watching a podcast the other day, and I wouldn't say who it was, but they said that in your fan base, there's what you call like a golden tip of people. So it'll be like the top 3 or 4% of your fan base that consistently buy every single song that you release. They buy all your merch. They come to every single show. Like, you do a tour of like 15 dates, they'll be at 12 of them. Yeah. And it's like the same people constantly that are doing this for you. Like, and I was like, wow, that's so mad when you think about it. Like, it is literally just that little tip of people, and they're the tip of people that you want to write the new music for. So like, you know that they're not going to go, album 1 was better than that, you sound shit now. And it's like they like appreciate that you've evolved, and like they listen to your lyrics rather than just your song, if that makes sense. And I hate people that are always like, "Oh, it doesn't sound like them anymore." And I'm like, "What do you mean?
What do you mean? Album 1 probably wasn't what they wanted to sound like anyway. Exactly, this is probably more of them than album 1 was."
Yeah, but people they just don't appreciate it, do they? It's like crazy.
Boston Manor, the first album they wrote, was like a pop punk record. The whole thing was pop punk through and through. And then they came out with Welcome to the Neighborhood after that.
Oh, mate, it's such a good album.
Coming out after. It's an incredible album.
You put me onto that when we were sitting in the living room of your old house, and I listened to it, and then I listened to it on the way home in the car, and then I did a loop of the block to finish the album. And like, I always have it on now. I just think it's like the perfect pop rock.
Yeah, it's good. It's not but like
that's not too poppy.
It's like all Henry ever said. He was like, we wrote to a pop punk fan base, but we're not a pop punk band anymore. They've kind of like completely erased their old name. They've got rid of all their old videos and all sorts of the songs they didn't like. The only like thing that's left of it is like the Spotify album, and that's it. And they said that's not us anymore. This is us. This is what we've always wanted to be. And Glue, the new album coming out, is supposed to be just like a kind of an evolution on that, I guess. But so many people just dropped, and they were like, "This isn't Boston Manor." Like even with like smaller bands like them, it's still gonna happen. It's crazy.
It's mental, isn't it? Ugh. Talking like different artists and stuff, who you listen to at the moment?
Oh, I might have to get my Spotify up for this one. I kind of go through like phases. So like I don't listen to one kind of... Sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't listen to like a load of bands and a load of artists all at the same time. I kind of listen to a few here and there, and then I'm always fixated on one at one time. So like Boston Manor was that band for ages, and like recently I get stuck on one song. I don't even tend to listen to like the rest of the band's stuff, which is bad. It's really bad. I shouldn't do that. But Wagon Wheel by Ultra Medicine Show is
mate, what a belter of a tune that is.
I only got onto it like a couple of months ago, and now I literally cannot stop listening to it.
One of my old friends, Patrick, introduced me to that when I was in like year 8 in school, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. Like, there's so many covers that have been done of it. There's a country artist from Birkenhead. His name's Nathan Carter, and he did a cover of Wagon Wheel, and it sounds amazing. Like it's like a popped up version of what it originally was, but with like this country flavor to it. It's sick.
That's cool. Sounds like Miley Cyrus.
Hey, Miley Cyrus has got some bangers, you know.
Dude, I still listen to Miley Cyrus.
Georgia always has her on. Like she was watching the Hannah Montana movie in the bath before, and I could hear them all going on in the background. I was like, oh, this is sick. It's the time. Oh, X Factor ruined that.
Oh yes, well and truly, man.
Definitely X Factor, man.
If we're talking about like phases of music, though, my phase is like I probably didn't listen to music much until I was like, I don't know, 10, when I started watching Disney Channel, or however old people are when they start watching Disney Channel. Yeah,
because you're like dead young as well, aren't you? I always forget this.
Yeah, I'm 21. I'm the youngest.
Yeah, you make me feel old as fuck.
Yeah, I think Disney Channel kind of ruined my music taste. It was like the worst era of mine, because I was like, oh my god, the Jonas Brothers are fucking sick, man. They're the future of music, and I just proper rated Jonas Brothers at like age 10.
Oh, I've lost so much respect for you right now.
I know. I don't really admit it to people, man, but like it's where it came from. No, I'm joking. But I kind of had that side of it from like all the TV I watched when I was a kid, and then I had my dad, who was like a proper dad rock kind of guy. So I got into like Floyd and Zeppelin and DC and Iron Maiden, and Thin Lizzy was like one of his favorite bands of all time. And it was such a weird, like, I had two very different worlds there. And then I evolved into like heavy metal from that. I didn't like mellow out as I went out. I kind of got into like gent and like the hardcore scene a bit.
Yeah, you just went all or nothing, didn't you?
Yeah, I turned into a fat goth. And then I kind of came out of that. I had like a little short pop punk phase, and then progressed onto like Arctic Monkeys and a few other bits. And now I haven't got a fucking clue what my music taste is anymore. I listen to such a shit show of stuff. Like my recent searches at the moment is Balance and Composure, Ultra Medicine Show, Youngblood, Sam Fender, Pink Floyd, Boston Manor, The Hunter, Daughter, Noah Cyrus, Julia Michaels, Bring Me, Dua Lipa. Like it's literally, there's no genre.
Oh, Dua Lipa, how good their new album, by the way.
Belter.
It's class. Such a group.
It's nearly hit it's their first number 1 album, I think. I don't know if it's actually made it yet, but I saw an Insta post go out the other day like, we're so close, help me out.
So sick. I've been going like old school, me. I've been listening to like because obviously like I don't want thumping music going on while I'm like working. But I've had like the Beatles Abbey Road album on quite a lot. Like
I've listened to shit tons of the Beatles actually.
Rumours, like the Fleetwood Mac album. Absolutely obsessed with that. Well into Fleetwood Mac at the moment. I go through phases of Fleetwood Mac where I listen to them constantly for like a month, and I listen to no one else but Fleetwood Mac, and then I kind of forget about them for a bit.
Yeah,
and then I'll be sitting here one day and I'll just be like, I
was going to say, like, you know, literally, like if you listen to it for ages, forget about them, and then Dreams will come on the radio or something, and you're like, oh, what a tune this is.
Yeah, you just like you instantly forget how good they are.
Yeah, that kind of era of music is very much like. What the fuck am I calling? And apparently, I'm calling you on WhatsApp. Whoa! Ignore that. I literally tapped my phone with my hand.
This makes no sense.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that kind of era of music is something I always come back into. Like every time I have like a different phase, like when I went through my heavy phase or my pop punk phase or pop and indie phase or whatever. Every time I finish that phase, I always come back to my roots and go back to listen to like Maiden and Fleetwood Mac and Floyd and that's like my go-to every time I've got nothing else to listen to.
Yeah, it's quality, isn't it?
It's my fallback, well and truly.
Are there any like local artists that you're listening to? I know that you're a big fan of the Night Cafe, aren't you?
Yeah, the Night Cafe is sick.
Are you still spinning their album? Like,
I think I've finally hit my limit with the Night Cafe. It's probably going to be a Fleetwood Mac sitch, and I'll listen to another song on the radio, or like when I walk into the studio or something, and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I can get back into this."
Yeah.
But what other local artists have I listened to? Clean Cut, I also have phases of. Lizzie Farrell, I was listening to a bit. She's signed to the same record label as Boston Manor. She's got some tunes. I listen to loads of local artists, and as soon as you ask me this question,
they put you on the spot.
Any, yeah. Who the fuck have I been listening to? I suppose, like, what the fuck is the name? Peach Fuzz.
I was just about to say, Andy absolutely loves Peach Fuzz, doesn't he?
Yeah, he got me onto them. Peach Fuzz is sick. Paris Youth Foundation. I only ever listened to them actually after we saw them at Slam Dunk at Sound City.
Oh mate, how good are they at Sound City though?
They were class. They were one of the best shows there. And like, as much as I'm a big fan of the Night Cafe, they floored them. They well and truly floored them.
I buzz off Paris Youth, me. I just think like his voice is so good, but it's like effortless as well. Like when he's on stage, he's just like not even
effortlessly cool
no
guy.
trying whatsoever, is there?
It is mad sharing a studio with them. Sometimes when we stop playing and we're just like, that's Paris Youth.
Yeah, you can hear them above us or below us. We still haven't figured out if they're above us or below us yet.
I think they're below. But I can't tell.
It's mad, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. What about you? What local bands are you into?
I mean, I buzz off Clean Cut Kid. I think they're the best band to come out of Liverpool for ages. So like, I constantly rotate their albums and just listen away.
Still not had a chance to listen to Mother's Milk.
Oh mate, it's so good. Like obviously they did like the whole thing, didn't they? Where like they didn't stream it, exactly. Which is it was cool because like people like me, I went out and bought it straight away. Like before it was even out, I paid for it. It was done. So I've been playing it constantly, but it's absolutely class. Again, like referring back to before, like their album 1 is nothing like album 2 and 3. Like they did album 1 with the label, and like it's good and stuff, but it's nowhere near the standard of music that 2 and 3 is.
Yeah, it's clearly like, didn't they have loads of songs written in advance as well, and they like kind of picked and chose as they went through? Yeah. They've obviously saved some songs to put in this album, knowing that they were all going to go together properly, and maybe the label, I don't know, maybe the label didn't agree with a couple of them in the first instance. And
he's in the middle of writing album 4 now. Like,
of course he is.
He just doesn't stop. He's an absolute machine. Like in between, like writing songs with the choral and stuff, he just fucking writes another album.
All of that stuff on his own, and then just kind of pass the ideas through to the band.
Well, it depends. I think with album 2, with Painwave, I think he wrote that himself, and then the others just laid their parts on. Apart from the bass, like he recorded all the bass himself as well because they didn't have a bass player at the time.
Of course, yeah.
And then with Mother's Milk, I think he co-wrote it with Ev. But with album 4, he's writing that on his own. And Ev's writing a solo album for herself, which is pretty fucking cool.
Oh, sick! So she was a solo artist before she met Mike, wasn't she?
I don't know. Like I never really dived too deep into it.
Was. I'm sure she. I can't remember who told me. I'm sure, like she supported him, or like they did a gig together, or he saw her do a gig or something, and that's how they first met. Like she was just doing all her own stuff, but I can't remember. I honestly wouldn't know. Don't hold me to that one.
But yeah, it's mad. Like he's a machine.
I'd love to know what he listens to, like what inspires his clean cut music, because he writes for loads of other people as well, but that's a completely different story. Like I just want to know what inspires that band as such.
Funny is, I was speaking to him yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I was asking him the same question. I was like, "Who do you listen to when you're writing music?" And he gave me like 5 or 6 different artists. So I've been like listening, like trying to listen in on them like all today. Just that it's.
Are they all new names to you?
And not all of them. I mean, like Bob Dylan's one of them, and like everyone knows who Bob Dylan is. And like Joni Mitchell was another massive one of his. Do you know Joni Mitchell?
Can't say I do.
I think like most famous tunes that Big Yellow Taxi. And they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. It's amazing, absolute tune. But yeah, like so I've been trying to listen to a fair amount of them. And then Ellen and Ellie's got a Boss Little EP out as well that she released not too long ago. And we listen to that all the time. It's class. Zuzu as well. Zuzu's insane. I don't know if you listen to her much, but like I definitely recommend it. Like it's like a really, really high standard of music. But then she's got this like really raw Scouse singing voice, and it's amazing. Like it's dead refreshing. Like you always hear like loads of Manchester bands that sing with a Manc accent and stuff, but you never really hear Scousers sing with the Scouse accent.
You really don't. Most people's accents just disappear when they start singing. It's rare that a Scouse accent comes through in a singing voice.
But then Zuzu's done it and she's nailed it. Like her tune's a boss.
You know, one thing I've never ever been able to comprehend. I can't remember the guy's name. Tame Impala. He was in an interview that I was watching the other day. I think it was like a Zane Lowe one or something. And they were asking him about the new album. He was like, "Oh, what's your inspiration? Who are you listening to when you like wrote this album?" And he was like, "No one." And they were like, "What do you mean, no one?" He was like, "I don't listen to music the whole time I'm writing." So like from start of writing the album to end of writing the album, he doesn't listen to anything in case he starts stealing inspiration or like copying someone too much. And I was like, You don't listen to music for like that long, and you come out with an album like that.
I do get it though, because the second, like, I remember Andy wrote a tune a while ago that sounded exactly like a Hunter song.
Yeah,
like exactly. And when we all started playing it, like my drum part was exactly the same as what the Hunter's drummer was playing. Like the actual fundamental beat of the tune was exactly the same. So I made it my mission to not listen to the Hunter for like 6 months because I was just like, I've been listening to them loads at that point. And I was like, right, I need to stop this because we're just turning into the Hunter now. So I get it from that sense, but not listening to music at all. I couldn't go a day without music. I can't go an hour without listening to music.
I'm 100% the same. I can't stop, man. Like I literally need it all the time. And as soon as he said that, I was like, I think I'd actually go insane.
Yeah, it drives me mad.
Serious willpower.
That's like the massive downside of working in an office is that there's no music on. And like now I'm at home, like the poor Sonos must be like blowing up in the corner. It's never been used so much. It's on all day, every day. But yeah, music it's everything. I don't understand how people can't listen to it. But that's really interesting that he just like to save his creativity being swayed in a direction, he just doesn't listen to anything. That's insane.
So Tame Impala's music is literally Tame Impala's music. It's not anything else. There's no inspiration. Like as soon as you listen to that new album, knowing that as well, you hear it in a different light. I was like,
I still haven't listened to that new album. I can't.
It's good. I think people are very
listened to
like
one track and I was a bit like, okay, this is different.
Yeah, it's quite different. I think a lot of
people
really
need to give it a chance.
I've heard very mixed opinions on it. I've heard some people seriously hate on it who are like diehard Tame Impala fans, but I rated it, man. Are
they the ones that are like fixated on album one again though? Like back to that same point again. Like
this was my point. I was like, they can't. I had this argument with this lad, and I was like, they can't stay as what they were. You knew that, like, because it kind of sounds like some of their newer stuff, and he was like, oh, I always knew it was going to go this way. I was like, well, yeah, they're moving forward with what they want to sound like, but yeah, I kind of said all this, and I was like, choking. Yeah, and he was like,
COVID,
I'm dying. Yeah, and he argued it, and then everyone else around him was like, they were always going this way. I don't know what you expected, but I like it. It's one of those albums you'll listen to, and the first couple of times through, every song kind of melds together and sounds like one big long song throughout the album, and then once you've given it a third and a fourth listen, you start picking out the ones you like, and then it separates itself in your head.
Yeah.
Which I quite liked. But a lot of people can't get into it.
I do need to just give it a chance, though.
Yeah. Just give it a good listen and try not to fall asleep.
That'll be the big thing. I'll do it tomorrow when I'm decorating. Like, oh, jeez.
No, decorating music needs to be in like hardcore.
Yeah.
Can't listen to like chilled out music. No Alt J, no Tame Impala. Needs to be like deathcore, heavy vocals.
Just get George. I usually leave George in control of the music when I'm doing the decorating and stuff. Like when I can't access my phone, and she puts a mad mix of music on. Like, I was
gonna say, how much of a music taste do you guys share?
Was it like a hell of a lot, to be fair? Like, Georgia, like we kind of sit on the same path, but then I lean more towards the heavier stuff, and Georgia leans more towards like the poppy stuff.
Oh, that's a nice balance.
So it kind of balances out, but sometimes I go a bit too far on the heavy stuff, and George is just like, I can't do this.
Stop it. I think that's important in a relationship, though. I don't know if it's just me because I'm a muso or whatever, but I don't think I could be with someone who I don't share at least some of my music taste with. It's a massive thing for me.
Yeah, like to be able to. We've got loads of records in the living rooms. We've got a record player in the living room, and we've got loads of records there, which have got like loads of old country albums, like loads of Johnny Cash albums and stuff. And we both sit there like just zenning out to the same music. But then if you went on our phones and looked at our playlist and stuff, they're just like worlds apart.
Yeah.
And like upstairs in the office that George has got upstairs, with like the walls got loads of vinyl on, like signed vinyl and stuff, and it's all artists that we both love.
Oh yeah, her office looks sick. I saw it on a story the other day.
Yeah, it's quality. Such a good space. That was like the big thing when we moved house. I was like, right, it'll be our bedroom, a guest bedroom, and your office, and that was it. There was no like, there's no arguing. It was just like, you need this office space at home, and it's boss. It's so good.
Sick. I'm jealous. I miss my house so much.
It'll be
it was
worth
a proper shithole. Such a shithole.
It was your shithole though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I think
I always look at things like that. Like I look at my first car was a 2002 Skoda Fabia, and it was a rust bucket. There was a plant growing out the side of it. They had like on the front fairing, like where the wheel arch meets the door, there was like a rust hole. So it rusted and just like corroded away. So it was a big hole, and there was a plant growing out the side of my car, and I just left it.
Jesus.
I've still got a bit of my car that fell off in work.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
It's just but it was like
I'm gonna have to do that with the little bit of my brake light that my mum broke off. I'm just gonna have to keep it in my wallet or something. Oh yeah, I do love my little 2009 Polo. To be fair, as much as I test drove so many nice cars. I test drove like a fucking Golf Estate and a really nice 1 Series and all this, and then
but while you're there, you might as well, though, innit?
Yeah.
You gotta
it was so nice to drive it all, and I got in the Polo, and I was like, I guess this will do. This is
hey, it's a beast.
I can afford this one. Yeah, it's pretty rapid off the mark, and then it gets into second gear, and it's like, 20 miles an hour, creeping.
It means you'll appreciate your next car more.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So with this lockdown situation, I can see obviously you've got guitars behind you and stuff. Mm-hmm. Have you been writing a lot? I know like a lot of people have been writing about this situation, which is like, I mean it's good to write about a situation because the emotions are raw, but I also think it's a bit shit to just write about fucking being stuck in your house with your mum and dad making you dinner every day.
I think I've been writing a few bits, nothing crazy. I've been doing like a few like acoustic covers to keep me sane. And I've done like a bit of writing with, Sam, who I used to live with.
Yeah.
Me and Sam have been doing a bit of writing. And like, I couldn't even tell you what kind of genre it is. I haven't got a clue because there's like some rap sections. There's some like pop punky breakdowns. There's like some like heavier stuff. There's some very stripped back stuff. And I haven't got a clue what it is. We've got like 4 or 5 kind of 3/4 done songs now. But none of them.
You can play like so many styles of music, like quite comfortably play them as well. So like a while ago, you wrote a track, didn't you, called Olivia?
Mm-hmm.
And you did that with Sean Richardson.
Yeah.
And you released that, and that was quality. But it was like so mellow and so chill. And it was like, and then you go on Instagram the next day and like Cal's posted this thing of him just shredding some metal on a guitar, and you're like, wow, how can you go from like one extreme to the other and be dead comfortable in both of them? Like, it's amazing.
This is what I mean about my music taste, man. It literally goes from like I properly rate like cheesy chill music, which is exactly what Olivia is. It's just like a proper cheesy feel good chill out tune, and that's it. And then I also like I need something to like vent my anger to, and I need something to dance around to. Like I have a different genre for every emotion and everything I need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think me and Sam like straight up refused to write about the whole lockdown coronavirus situation because like I'm not going to say anything about writing isn't depressing. It's depressing as fuck. But it's not like I'm sat in my house, I can't do shit, I'm spending lots of money, which is what all this like coronavirus tunes are going to be. And there's going to be so many of them. It was like a big no-no. We were like, yeah, let's not touch that subject at all.
I was saying this before as well, like the amount of people that have spent, like they all went into this going, oh, I'm going to save so much money because I won't be going out and stuff. The amount of people that have spent a serious amount of unnecessary money is insane. Mm-hmm. Like I was saying before, like
me included.
My mum has never, ever, ever played a guitar in her life. I don't think she's ever picked one up, never mind played one. Mm-hmm. And she's seen an advert on Facebook saying that Fender are giving away free guitar lessons for 3 months. So she signed up to it and then went and bought like a 150 quid guitar, paid like 90 quid for next day delivery. And like sat there today, she FaceTimed me just strumming this out of tune open notes. And I was like, no. Mum, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going to learn the guitar. And I was like, oh my God, like, you like,
you say that, it's never too late.
No, not at all.
Never too late.
But it's just going to be one of the things, isn't it? Like, you'll learn guitar for like 6 weeks while we're locked down, and then it'll be put away.
Yeah, that'll literally be it for most people. Like Sam was saying as well, like Sam can't play an instrument, and he was like, I might learn guitar because I sent him the Fender lessons, and I was like, if you're going to do it, do this. But he's not buying a guitar. His bird who lives with, her house is just full of them. So at least he's got that there. So if he ever drops it, he hasn't just spent 200-300 quid on equipment for it. But
yeah,
I saw the Fender lessons, which, in fairness, was a sick idea for them to do. They're keeping so many people busy. But and so many people keep it on as well. So like that's like they're making so much money once this lockdown's gone off. Like after that like 3 week period or whatever.
Everyone signs up for free Fender lessons and buys an Epiphone.
Yeah. Literally. But yeah, I was like, I might even give those lessons a go. I'm just see what they have. I want to know
back to basics.
I want to know if there's any like tricks I've missed if it's free.
Yeah, it's like fucking no harm done. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Exactly. Yeah. Sit and play Zelda for another 24 hours. No.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of playing games, man. Like I don't understand as a kid how I used to sit there for so long, so consistently playing games and just love every second of it. And now I play games like a few hours and I'm like, I'm fucking knackered. I'm going to bed.
It's like, is that you got ADD just developed later on in life and you're just like, nah, I can't pay attention to this.
I can't concentrate like, it's doing me. Which, yeah, I'm definitely in that boat. Maybe you need to start playing guitar more.
Mate, honestly, like, wait there.
Arms reach.
Right next to me. Go. I've just been like non-stop noodling.
Noodling's all you need to do, man. Noodling's how I end up writing like all the stuff that me and Sam have been doing, because I'll find a nice chord and like I'll be sat there like dead bevied or dead like tired, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice chord, and then I'll just like do a little voice to it, like, bling, and then stop it, and then I've got something for later.
That's the only way I write. Because obviously I can play guitar to an extent. Like, I can sit and strum a few chords, but like I would never ever class myself as a guitar player. But whenever I write, I write a melody in my head, and like I just start singing this melody, and then I write lyrics to it, and I've got this whole song with no instrumentation whatsoever. And then I take it to Andy, and like I ask him to start building the song with me then, because I haven't got a clue where to start with writing music. I mean, I have, but haven't as well.
What was the name of that song you did?
That one I wrote for Andy.
One day, yeah.
Yeah, that was literally like, I said to him, he was in like a really bad moment in his life. And like the only way that I could figure, that's the wrong phrase. The only way that I could tell him how I was feeling was to write this song. And it like, it said everything in this song. And I had it And I was like, shit, I've got nothing to play. I was like, I can't just send him this song of me just singing like a cappella. I'd sound like a right fucking psycho, wouldn't I? So I asked him if he'd come and develop the song with me. Yeah. So it almost adds like a different meaning to that song now for me. Because absolutely. We built it together, and like I got Andy to sing on the track instead of me and stuff. So it's like
he's singing to himself from your perspective. It's pretty so much, strange.
But it was almost like the only way for it to sink into him that like I was always there for him no matter what happened was for him to like read these lyrics, memorize them, and sing it, and it was like gives it. It's
ingrained in his head then.
Yeah. So that was a really, really cool moment. And I was so happy that George was there to video it and stuff. So I watch that video back all the time. I love it.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, it gives me like proper goosebumps, but it's also like, yeah, it's crazy.
And it's nice to see, like, it's nice to think about, like, I hope he doesn't mind us talking about this too much, but it's nice to see how far he's come since then. Like, if you compare Andy then to Andy now, he's a different person.
Oh, mate, completely. Like, worlds apart.
It's actually insane. Like, I just cannot wrap my head around it at all. But like, it's the happiest I've ever seen him now. Like, even when I met him years and years ago, whenever it was in Signature, like he was happy as Larry, but like never the Andy he is now. Like he's like he's just so confident, and he's just like he wants to go out and do things, and like he's not sat at home just like thinking about like his future. He's like living in the moment.
Playing fucking RuneScape.
Too cheesy. Playing RuneScape, yeah, literally.
Yeah, absolute hero.
Oh. Yeah.
What else have I got written down here?
You've covered quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, fucking nailed it.
Done like boss. An hour and a bit.
Yeah.
What time did you message me? Hold on.
It's been like an hour and 2 minutes.
Oh, is that what it is?
I've got a timer on my screen.
Yeah, I have not.
Mental.
Yeah, good times. Right. I think that went.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. That was boss.
Happy days. Well,
and it was great to catch up with you as well.
Yeah, defo. It was like,
I feel like we're in the room together. This is like a really intimate way of talking to someone, isn't it?
I was about to say, I was like ready to come on here for it to feel like an interview, but it's literally just been a fucking conversation.
It's just been a chat, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's all it needs to be, man. We've got enough shit to talk about.
So it happens when you lock us away for 3 weeks and you can't fucking see each other.
Yeah, literally. Although, like, I have been like speaking to a few of my mates, and it's like, oh, like, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? And it's like, well, just fucking think nothing. Yeah. Got nothing to talk about, but it's different.
I ventured to the kitchen today. That was interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I walked the dogs a slightly different way around the woods.
It's mad, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
I'll love you and leave you.
Cool.
Thanks so much. Really good having a chat, man.
100%.
Right. I'll chat to you soon.
Speak to you later.
Love you, mate.
Peace and love.
See you later.
Bye.